All right. Let's get it. Let's see what's going on. Oh, welcome back. Here we are. We have returned. Back in the saddle. Thank you for the heart, me, Jamie. Thanks for reposting, Rivers. Thank you to all of you who are reposting, liking, and sharing as well. I'm doing great. I hope that you all are doing great as well. Let's get it rocking. Let's get it moving. Get the live shared out to the people that need to see it. Make sure you are liking that live. Let's make it a good one. Thank you for the heart meet and the Go Popular, Acela. $400 comments. Let's go. That's pretty good stuff. Is that the same as last time? Is that just something you can repeatedly send? I doubt it. I think that you can only send it once it actively hits the achievement. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so the answer would be, nope, you can only send those when you get the achievement. Yeah, I'm excited for you that you're doing your dance thing. As I always say, make sure you do what you want to do. Tomorrow's not promised. And if you've been wanting to get back into a passion or a hobby for some time, make sure you do it. Do not put it off. Get it rolling. Thank you for those of you who are liking the live. Thank you for sharing the live. Jamie, and we're already over halfway to 1,000 likes. Good stuff. We'll see how this baby goes here Monday night. Going into Tuesday. I'm good, Maria. Thank you for asking. Hope you are well also. Yeah, it sounds like a very exciting genre of dance. Good stuff. Or style, I should say. Style is the right word. Genre pertains to music. Style pertains to dance. Your performance. Okay. So you enroll in a class. You already know when the performance is going to occur. So then from there, you practice for a couple months and hopefully you're ready to go from there, I suppose. I think that's the case, at least what it sounds like. Thanks for sharing the live, Octavia. My weekend was good. It was good. It was chill. How was yours? How was all of yours? How was your day? Come on, let's go. How was your Monday? How was your weekend? For some of you, we just had a holiday. For others of you, you did not. But of course, as always, for me, mostly always, pretty much, it was a good weekend. It was a good day today, more of the same, other than family on the holiday. And Friday was kind of busy too, but I still did the stream. Saturday was less busy, but I had to cram everything all into one day because I was so busy Sunday and Friday. So I still did the stream on Saturday as well, actually, but what's going on, Nomad? Welcome to the stream. And Rose, no, it's no worries. I appreciate it very much. I'm glad you think so. Thank you. Well, good, Rivers. That's exciting. I know that you had planned to do exactly that on Sunday, so that's good that you actually followed through on that. That's great. We're studied, family reunion on Sunday. Very good. Very good. First tooth today. That's always a big time. Big time. Wait, was it an incisor? Or was it I feel like the incisors go first most of the time. I really do feel like that. Probably was an incisor, huh? Bottom left center. Hey, that's just how it goes. Yeah, tooth attachment is very, very interesting that way. What kind of content do I make? Honestly, I would say, Nomad, that the best way to answer that is to even just take a cursory glance at any of my million. I mean, there's no way I could even describe this in one moment. Like, I'm a live streamer, number one. I'm a musician, number two. I have a podcast, number three. I have multiple YouTube channels where I do multiple different things in each of those YouTube channels. Number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's just, there's so much to explain. It's hard to enumerate it all, to be honest. But you can just go to my Beacons link on my profile here and you'll see literally everything. It's all there. Oh yeah, Velvet Vampire Elven God as well. Indeed. Thanks for sharing the live times too, Acela. That's very good, Nomad. You're almost all the way there. Thank you for the Legend Crown, Jamie. Appreciate the stream support, of course. Yeah, good, Nomad. Then you'll be all the way there soon. You are almost there. I definitely do not support vegetarianism, but I understand that for some people it is a necessary step along the road, but don't stay there. The reason I don't support it is because it is easy to stay there and feel like you're doing enough, but you're not. So that's great that that you want to change, and and I'm sure that you will. I believe you. I believe in you. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. Glad you think so. Sewing Bunny, thank you for the heart puff. Octavia, thank you for the heart me as well. What did I read and study today? I mean, a multitude of things, as always. What did I do? More free will, just because I felt like it. That was probably the majority. The majority was free will, I would say, but what else? Mostly free will. Maybe some religion in there. Just philosophy in general. Philosophy, biology, because, technically free will plays directly into biology and physics as well, not just philosophy. It's great. Good, Maria. Study up. Study up. Busy but good day. Those are some of the best kind. Lee, hello. Well, they're all points I've made previously, honestly. It would kind of just be redundant, repetitive if I went over. I mean, it's all pretty much the same points. You can argue. The truth of it is that free will doesn't actually exist, but we hold the illusion that it does, and it's necessary that we hold the illusion that it does. But again, I've already said all this on a previous stream recently. It'd be different if it was like months ago. But I've already said all this, spoken about all of this previously. And you can argue this point from wherever you'd like. Physics, biology, pure logic, philosophy. But I've kind of touched on all of these points prior to this stream. I was just looking more at arguments against it, just completely futile attempts to refute it, just to make sure that my position was 100% secure, which it obviously is. But it's always good to know, no matter how ridiculous the arguments are, like arguments against like animal ethics and things like this, no matter how ridiculous the counterpoints are, it's good to understand them and know them, just so that you understand and you've got a fully fleshed out idea of opposing views, because they exist, no matter how ridiculous they are. Rose, I would say, whoops, I just smacked my computer. I would say about 10 years. Thank you, Road G. Appreciate you. Yeah, 10 years, Rose, I'd say. 10 or 11. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair thing to say. However, there's no, like, good on me for this, because as I tell all of you, This is the very least that you can do. Being vegan/plant-based is the simple act of not causing harm. You're not doing good by not, like, you're just not doing something absolutely morally abominable. That's all it is. You're aligning yourself with the morals and values that you purport to have to the rest of the world. But instead of just paying lip service to those morals and values, you actually align your actions with them. And there's no, like, you're a better person than somebody else just because they don't understand that yet, or you haven't made these points to them, or they don't understand the true horrific nature of what's going on. I'm not better than anybody. It's not good on me. It's just purely the least that I can do. Thanks for the follow, Queen Bee, and thank you. I appreciate that. Carpe diem, fair enough. That is a pretty good characterization of how I look, I would say. It's a pretty fair characterization. I'm good, Lee. How are you? The most interesting point made to support free will. The funny thing is, there's no real. I wasn't hearing any points that were made to support it, because it's all circular. You end up getting back to the beginning no matter what. But the whole crux of the opposing view is, well, we would circle down the drain into just absolute cataclysm as a species if people walked around knowing or subscribing to the factual claim that free will doesn't exist. But the caveat is we have the illusion that we do, and of course we operate like we do. So no, nothing changes just because I'm fully understanding of the fact that it doesn't exist, but I'm under the illusion that, like, if you compliment how I look, or you compliment, well, let's say something like completely intrinsic to myself, compliment my eye color, compliment my eyes. I had no control over, like, I'll say thank you, right? I'll say thank you. Oh my goodness, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And it might even give me like a little good feeling inside. But deep down, we all know that I have nothing to do with what my eyes look like, what my eye color is, how attractive or not I happen to be. I'm not in control of that. And just because I understand that and all of us understand that doesn't now mean that we devolve into complete cataclysm. So that was basically the only sort of oppositional view that I was kind of getting out of it, and that doesn't actually bite at the claim's heels at all. It just says, well, it's a really good thing that we feel like it. Well, the point is that I'm making is we do feel like it. I mean, we can't stop feeling like it. But anyway, that's good. Get stuff done, Lee. Very good. What's your favorite vegan meal? Probably. Well, I would say cuisines in general. So most any Thai food I love, and most any Indian food I love. Those are my two favorite types of cuisine. No need to be sorry, Rose. I'm just explaining. There's nothing wrong with what you said at all. I appreciate that you said it, though. Hey, Taylor, what's going on? Eddie, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Brooke, I don't understand what that statement was at all, but okay. What is stopping us from having it? Well, again, I've made all these arguments before, but I think one of the really good ones to like sum it up is, for instance, you and your friend go to a movie. You and your friend walk out of that movie. You say, geez, that movie was so inspirational. Honestly, I'm so inspired by that movie that I think I'm going to donate my life savings to Doctors Without Borders, and I'm going to support this charity because I am so inspired to do so. Your friend walks out of that movie and says, that was such a manipulative movie. I felt manipulated at every single turn. That was disgusting. And in fact, I think I'm going to ask for my money back at the counter of this movie theater right now because that was terrible. I'm so upset. Now, what made you the type of person that reacted the way that you did to the movie, but your friend reacted a completely opposite way? Maybe it was because your friend didn't have lunch that day, and so they were in a bit more of a grumpy mood than you. Maybe you had lunch that day and you were just in a bit more calm, receptive mood. Or maybe you can take this back. You can take this back to you could take this back to the very first human if you want to. Again, this is just a complete concatenation of a series of events and genetic shaping that made you who you are and your friend the way that they are. Even, here we go on this. So let's take it back to your fetal development. If your mother, while they had you in their womb, was extremely stressed, you will be born with a much larger amygdala than someone whose mother wasn't extremely stressed, living in poverty, trying to pay the bills day in, day out, super stressed. What does a larger amygdala do? Well, number one, that person couldn't control that. Completely out of their control. That then makes it so they go through their life completely shaped by their neuroanatomy. And that's just one factor. Having a bigger amygdala causes you to react in fear a lot more. You're a lot more likely to react in fear or stress to certain circumstances. Someone with a smaller amygdala is a lot more likely to think rationally about things and be a little bit more calm and collected about things. So there's one example from the fetal side of things. They have a whole ACE score. I can't even remember what the acronym is, but we could take it to just your childhood. Let's say that you were beaten as a child. If you were beaten as a child, we know that shapes who you become later in life. Did you control that? And what made your parents the type of parents that would beat you? Maybe their parents beat them, and maybe their parents' parents beat them, and maybe it was just a purely genetic thing. Maybe their parents' parents drank alcohol. Their parents' parents, their mom, drank alcohol while they were in the womb, so they were born with fetal alcohol syndrome, which greatly affects their brain, and then they go on through life and they have a kid. It can go back and back and back. It can go back to 3 seconds ago. Did somebody just negatively, did you just drive past somebody on the street that flipped you off? Well, if they did, you might be a lot more likely to be in a terrible mood. Maybe you're really upset right now. Well, that's going to shape what you say in this live stream right now, because you're coming in here, you're already fired up. Whereas, if somebody just complimented you prior to you joining this stream, you're going to be a lot less likely to be the type of person that would have just come in here and said something ridiculous or rude or whatever it might be. So these are the things that are stopping you from having it, which are pretty much everything. Now, again, we have the illusion that we are free to make these choices, and we do make these choices, but they're out of our control. And my hair is not playing nice today, so I do apologize. That's why I keep flipping it around. Eddie, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Thanks for the heartbeat meetup. Thank you for the legend crown, Jamie. If I didn't already say that. And you're very welcome, Julie. I'm happy. I try my best, because again, like, nobody new who had heard this, like, who had never heard me speak on this before, had asked for any reasoning, so I wasn't giving them, but then I realized you were new and you wanted to hear some reasoning, so I gave you at least a couple. I'm a thorough person. I do try to give the best answers I can. Or at least, obviously I try to give the best answers I can, but I just try to answer in detail, give you guys my true thoughts behind things, and not just hand wave and give you like a one sentence sort of thing. Taylor, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Dar, hello to you too. Rauji, I don't understand that message. A song that I can recommend. One of mine. That's a gem. One of my songs would be a solid enough gem of a song for you to listen to. Any of them. Jukuroka, I think you just joined at a bad time. I don't think you're in the stream anymore, to be fair. Yeah, thank you, Rose. I try to think deeply on things as much as I can. I'm the type of person that wants to know and has to know how things truly work, and why. These things matter deeply to me, at least within the subjects and topics that matter to me. That being philosophy, psychology, health, nutrition, science in general. So all that sort of stuff. I speak extensively on medication, Rauji. Thank you, Serena. I try my best. Shadow, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Well, Rose, yeah, adverse effects such as that, like I said, these aren't just random things that I'm throwing out here without any scientific backing. I'm very well read on neuroscience and such, and yeah, it's a very fairly well understood area of research where they've done plenty of studies on highly stressed females who are pregnant and what that does to the developing fetus, for sure. So you are not wrong. Yeah, Raji, that's incredibly close-minded and shallow of you. But fair enough. I mean, plenty of people look plenty of different ways, and that doesn't mean that they are any more or less intelligent just because somebody might be ugly, somebody might be pretty, somebody might be beautiful, somebody might be disgusting, somebody might not have showered in 6 months, somebody might have showered just right now. That doesn't really directly play into their IQ or anything like that, or what subjects they happen to be interested in. Boots, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Owls, hey, what's going on? What's going on, Nessa? Great to see you. Yeah, of course, Julia. I try my best. Hi, Nita. Yeah, Samira. Easter was good, Lee. Good to see you too, Nita. Raji, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Brooke, no, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely terrible, Rose. Absolutely terrible. We're not arguing about anything, Chase. And I'm pretty sure Chase is new here, too. Yeah, exactly. But is it a regular occurrence that I speak on my live streams about things that people ask me about, or... Yeah, of course. I don't just sit here and stare at my camera, of course. People come to me to ask me questions about things that they want to hear my thoughts on because I understand them so deeply. So yes, of course. It is a regular stream occurrence that I respond to my audience's questions and comments that on things that I can directly speak on. I'm glad you're intrigued in what I'm speaking on. Yeah, Dolly, it can be not so fun. It can be not so fun. It takes time out of your day. I get it. I get it. But it is nice to be clean. It's nice to be clean. Although, sometimes you can think that it'd be a lot better to just kind of use your time on something else, I suppose. Hey, Rihanna. I'm good. How are you? Chanel, sorry you can't sleep. Yes, you are new, Chase. Hey, Bunny. 500 comments. Black Heart. Yeah, it's all honest. Everything I say is completely genuine and honest, for sure. My name's just Jackson, Rihanna. Those type of talks, well, I don't know what those type of talks are. Any complex topic can be anything can be argued. That's for sure. Anything can be argued. And online, everything is argued all the time. No, Brooke, I actually answer everything completely honestly. And my answer is me honestly answering you. By saying, I don't understand your question, essentially. That's what I said. I said, what are you asking? Are you asking if I respond to my audience's questions on topics that I'm very understanding about and that I'm well read on? Because if so, yes. That's me genuinely answering you and trying to make the best educated assumption on what you're referring to, just based on the pure context that I have here in your 2 sentences that you had written. So no, there was no sarcasm there. This is a daily occurrence where we speak on these complex topics that people ask about, for sure. So I'm glad you're intrigued. Once again, I'll say that again, Brooke. I'm glad you're intrigued. John, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Oh, and you have great energy through your video. Very empathetic. Well, thank you, John. Yeah, I certainly am. I would say empathetic characterizes me pretty well, for sure. Awesome. Much love over to Florida Chanel. No, Rihanna, it's not... You're not being weak just because you're not fine. Like, it's perfectly okay and acceptable to feel the emotion that can arise from not being fine. Whatever not being fine entails for you. If it entails being sad or frustrated, like, you should feel those emotions and then try to work out, figure out why you are feeling those emotions and then try to rectify it from there. And you shouldn't just feel those emotions just all the time and say, well, it's hopeless. I can't fix it. There's nothing to do here. I'm just going to sit here and be miserable. No, of course not. But of course you have to feel those initial feelings in order to understand that anything's wrong to begin with, you know? On one hand, Nita, that's good that he's reached out to you, I would say. I mean, it's a very good thing that he's reached out to you and you've kind of got a point of contact. That could mean that he's trying, finally, you know? And maybe you haven't reached out to him because you were waiting for him to do exactly that. I can understand the mixed feelings, for sure. I absolutely can. Yeah, Chase, I'm not really down. I'm not down for negativity in the streams. It's just not what I really play into. Especially because I don't, like, I do my live streams because I enjoy being here with you guys and spending time with you guys on a near daily basis for hours at a time. And I don't find enjoyment in just negativity, you know? I don't know many people that do, to be honest. So, yeah, that's kind of the situation there. I'm glad you like it, though, Brooke. Yeah, favorite to talk about, favorite topic, I would say a pretty safe... Well, it's an amalgamation of topics. It's sometimes multiple topics at once, to be honest. I kind of did briefly touch on those a couple minutes ago when I spoke on the subjects that I'm very well read in, because the subjects that I'm very well read in are the subjects that I understand and have studied for years. Those being science broadly, but more specifically psychology, exercise physiology, and neuroscience. And then philosophy is huge as well. So multiple different topics within science are the big ones, and then philosophy is a sort of offshoot. Health and nutrition are huge for me too. If you go to like the Jackson Downer Clips TikTok channel, YouTube channel, whatever social media, just search Jackson Downer Clips, you're going to see all the topics that I typically speak on distilled into, 1 minute snippets basically. So you'll see all of the different topics that are fairly typical for me to touch on in a stream. Good question though. My question is, how for myself to protect my feelings should I learn how to deal with it? I'm not necessarily sure that I understand the grammar of the question, because on one hand, you are maybe I can assume and sort of make an assumption. How do I protect my feelings? I mean, that's the biggest thing I'm getting out of this. How do I protect my feelings? And that's a hard question to answer, especially because a familial relationship is incredibly dynamic and complex, for many reasons that I enumerated in the past 30 minutes or so. However, I would say that in order to protect your feelings in this particular niche situation, I think you will regret not responding and maybe just dip your toes in the water a little bit. Don't be, here's the deal. Okay. And this is probably the best way that you should sort of navigate any relationship with someone, interpersonal or any other. So you can be cynical, or you can be naive. And in this situation, you could absolutely be naive and just completely all in trust, or you can be completely cynical and never trust this person again. Well, in a situation where you were naive in the past, let's say, and maybe this was you were naive in the past, and your father metaphorically cut you off at the knees. He completely betrayed your trust and disappeared off the face of the world, and you haven't heard from him in years. As a result of this, you become cynical, and you think to yourself, well, I'm doing a lot better now because now I'm cynical, and I'm never going to let anyone ever get one over on me again, because I'm not going to just trust people anymore, really. But and here's the thing, that is better than being naive, because cynicism is actually better than naivety in most ways. However, you can't stop there. That is not where you stop. In order to properly embody the way that you should go through the world conducting your relationships is to transcend cynicism. And you say, I understand that there are as many metaphorical snakes in my heart as there are in yours. But I am willing to place trust in you, because that's the only way that we can get where we need to be. And that is the way that you need to 100% operate in your relationships with people. To transcend that cynicism into a level of trust and understand that that person also may be dealing with the same situation, where they understand that you could cut them off at the knees, but you won't. And you shouldn't. So there's a long form answer to that. Yeah, I try my best, Chase. Yeah, I'm filming through a retina, Jessa, exactly. I'm filming through a human retina right now. I'm a live streamer, guys. I have good gear. I give you guys good streams. That's what I do, baby. Thank you, Chanel. The rings, yeah. I don't know. Favorite philosopher. I don't know. I don't really idolize any particular one, really. Good question, though. I mean, I like many different ideas from many different people. I try my best not to get attached to a particular person, because that can sort of put you in a bad place, because you may if you get too attached to someone, you can hear an idea that you don't necessarily agree with, but you want to agree with them so badly that you kind of believe that the idea that they're posing is true just because you want to like that idea way too much. It's good to try and keep the two separate as best you can. How do you feel? How do you learn how to not push back what you are feeling away and in the back of your head? Now, again, it's definitely an interestingly worded question, but I think I understand what you're saying here. How do you not push what you're feeling away and in the back? Well, I think that it takes a lot more conscious effort to push what you're feeling away and into the back. So really what the advice here is to, when you feel the percolation of that emotion, situation occurs, percolation of emotion immediately begins. You don't have any control over that. You react to whatever happens. And in some ways, feeling sad about that or feeling frustrated about that or whatever it might be that's negative or positive of an emotion can be a good thing. It can be a really good thing. In other ways, it's really bad. You know, like if somebody flipping you off in your car, if somebody drives by you and flips you off, if you swing the car around and start following them and then wait for them to stop and then you get out of your car and you beat them up or something like that, that's not good. You do not want to just completely give in to blind rage. So you've got to have sort of an a priori framework that you filter things through here, and it's hard to explain, but there's certain things that when you feel them, you have to understand that you've got a few seconds to really understand that this is a very bad idea. Maybe hold off a few seconds before you immediately react 100% to whatever might occur there. Give yourself a couple seconds to rationally think this out. Like, maybe I shouldn't just follow this person in the car down the street and do this awful thing to them. Or, my pet that I've had for 10 years just passed away. Like, it's probably okay that I feel sad about that. And I probably should feel sad about that. I don't know. I think it just takes a lot more work. Even in the negative example where you want to do something bad to that person who flipped you off that made you really angry, in that example, it's a lot harder to push that emotion into the back than it is to actually feel the feeling that immediately bubbles up into your consciousness as a direct, immediate reaction to the impetus that has catalyzed it. I'm drinking water with lime, Bunny. Portia Banks, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Yeah, a lot of people say that I look AI sometimes. Mad, but that happens at least once or twice per stream, so. Pay, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Sherry, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. My day is good. How was yours, Pay? Advice on someone. Advice on finding someone for a romantic relationship, since we are talking about cynicism and trust. As I said, cynicism is a one-up on naivety, but you cannot stop there. You have to transcend cynicism as well. And only then can you be the best operator within that relationship. And only if you are acting as the best, most optimal version of yourself as an operator in that relationship can the other operator within that relationship give you their best. Imagine if that opposite operator in the relationship constantly feels like you do not trust them, and you never will, no matter what they do. So basically what I'm saying here is you need to afford that person a level of trust and operate on it until they give you a reason, a good reason, not to trust them anymore, essentially. That's what you need to do. That's it. If you are interested in someone and you get to that point with them where, you know, it's becoming romantic, then you need to afford them just a good amount of trust. And they should be able to, you know, prove to you that they deserve more trust and more trust over time. But there should be at least a base level of trust that you afford someone, unless they have demonstrated to you, or until they demonstrate to you that they don't deserve it. And in which case, you may want to find somebody else anyway. Thanks, K8. I don't know, because I've gotten my hair cut intermittently throughout the growth stages and such, so it's really, really hard to say. Why would anyone think that, Chase? Well, you can ask the thousands of people that have asked the question, I suppose. Combination of how I look and how the quality is. And as long as you are scared of men romantically and afford no trust to men, and treat all men as if they are not to be trusted, and treat all men as if they are scary beings that, you know, you really have to be careful of because all of them are out to get you, you're going to have a really, really, really hard time finding someone. If that's what you want to do, is find someone, then you have to, yet again, transcend that. And if you're going to go with a non-monogamous relationship, like Maria said, you're really going to be in trouble, because good luck with your trust. Good luck having trust when you have to divide your trust among multiple people. If you have a hard enough time with trust in a monogamous relationship, good luck with a polygamous one. Or a non-monogamous one. Aldo, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Rose, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Ghost, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Yeah, it could sound like that, Prince, for sure. I mean, if you spelled poly differently and it meant anything close to that. I think that, yeah, like non-monogamy can work in the short term, but in the long term, that's really hard to say. Sounds good, Bunny. That's really, really hard to say. No, I think Polly Pocket was designed as a children's toy. I think that's about the long and short of it. That's the extent of it. But yeah, okay. I've got to the end of the chat, so that's good. Well, hopefully that's a good thing, Squeeze. Sup, Hugo? Thank you, Rose. I appreciate it. I'm glad you think so. And thank you for liking the live as well. Huh. That was one thing about the Polly Pocket clothes. Yeah, Brooke. They were like silicone or something. Like they were like this sort of polymer material that yeah, they would like you could stretch them out and chew on them, I suppose. I didn't do that, but nobody said she was edible. They just said chewing. Chewing and eating. Mastication is different. Jamie knows. That's funny. Yeah, short for polymer. Exactly. Short for polygamy and short for polymer. We've learned things, far more important things than the deep topics that we've spoke on here tonight, is the much deeper Polly Pocket conspiracy that we have now found ourselves within. And I think we're on to something here. We're definitely on to something here. No, Rose. I was just saying that I think that's just a self-defeating relationship type. In the short term, you can mess around with that, sure, and it'll work short term, but I don't think there's any long-term merit to that. It's not going to work long term. And like, I don't see the appeal. I actually legitimately don't see the appeal. Like, why don't you just be single and have a bunch of partners? Why don't you just do that? Until you're ready to be with someone. Now, I know there's obviously other reasons for that, but Kadawan, yes. I'm glad you agree, Serena. The better question, Prince, would be, do I think gay people are sinners? Because that's a lot easier of a question to answer. And yeah, I think that that's ridiculous. I think that the notion that God would have created gay people in order to send them to hell makes absolutely no sense, because being gay isn't just something that you just decide you're going to do. It's genetically how you are born. And number two, I don't understand how you could be a serial killer And after you've killed 25 people in the school shooting, you know, a entire class of 6-year-olds, you can get baptized, then you can go to church and say a couple Hail Marys, and now you're going to heaven instead of hell. Now that just doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. So no, sin is ridiculous. Oh my God. Thank you for the finger heart times 3, Jamie. Finger hearts right back to you. And Nita, thank you for the go popular times 8. JJ, no, I am basically entirely British by, like I'm American by nationality, but my heritage is all British. Like all my ancestors come from there. And hey, Rose, that's great. I'm glad that you feel that that's true. And Serena, maybe I am. You know, I've been doing music for a very long time. I've been an online personality for quite a while. So maybe you have seen me around. Maybe you've seen a music video. Maybe you've seen something. I don't know. Photo. Who knows? Who knows? Possibly. I'm out there on every social media. I'm pretty prolific when it comes to these things. So. How trusting am I of others? So again, like I try my best in the advice that I give to you guys. I really do try my best to not be hypocritical. So when I told you and gave you the advice that you should absolutely afford someone just the absolute right and understanding that you are going to give them this base level of trust until they have proven to you otherwise that they should or cannot be trusted. And that's just how I operate. So I really, really just try my best to not be naive and be overly trusting, have a degree of, you know, a small degree of cynicism to the degree that I'm not overly trusting to my detriment. But I'm also, you know, affording that person a level of trust that I would want them to afford me. And this is the biggest thing in relationships, right? And it just carrying your meat vehicle throughout this existence. Every little instantiation of yourself should be carried through life in this way, where you treat other conscious, living, sentient beings the way that you, a conscious, living, sentient being, would want to be treated. And that does not disclude non-human animals. So human animals and non-human animals are included in this circle of compassion, and that's how it should be. Now that's a little bit further than trust, but you get what I'm saying. Hey Sid, what's going on? Hey Leanne, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Serena and Rose, this is a very funny thing because many of you guys in the community have begged me to do a podcast or an audiobook. So I already have a podcast where I read to you guys. I have a literary reading podcast called Jackson Downer Reads, wherever you get your podcasts or YouTube. you can find it. So I already do this because the community wants it, and has wanted it. So that's the situation there. Now, once I am finished with season 1, each season will be a new book that I read for you guys. Once season 1 is finished, I will collate that podcast into one long, continuous narrative for you to listen to continuously as an audiobook in wherever you get your audiobooks. So this is the plan, and this is what's actively happening. We have 5 episodes of the podcast out right now, which means 5 chapters of the first book. When I read to you guys the classics, and I have interesting accents and voices for each character. So yeah, your wish has been granted. But I'm glad that you like my communication. Serena, I do appreciate that. I'm glad you like it, enjoy it. I try my best. And I appreciate that you guys appreciate my lexical eloquence. And thank you, Rose. I do appreciate that. The intelligence comment there. Thanks for the follow, Serena. Welcome to the community officially. Honestly, Danielle, that's like my favorite. That's my favorite compliment. Is that's what hooked you guys or intrigued you guys into the live stream, and therefore all of the adjunct content that I do across the Jackson Downery content universe, basically. That is my absolute favorite compliment, is that, you guys just were, that those of you who were attracted to myself and the community because of my ideas or how I speak on things or what I think on things or what I think about things, and things of that nature, like that's huge to me. Yeah, Amira, when I do the voices for the girls, yeah. Those are fun. Thank you, Eugene. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Or, hey, I mean, you said elite. First you said insane, which could mean... That could go either way. But then you said elite. So I'll take that as a good thing. I'll take that as a positive connotation right there. Well, some of the characters have sass, Amira, because Mina, in the story that we're reading now, does not have sass in the way she speaks, but Lucy does. I really... And she deserves to have sass in the way she speaks. She's got, a slight British inflection, old-timey Victorian British inflection with a bit of sass behind it. And she deserves it because she has like 3 suitors hitting her up and she's like, oh, goodness me, I sure do love, all these, I wish I could just marry all 3 of, like, her voice is warranted. Good luck on your exam, Maria. We'll see you in the next stream. Great to have you here tonight. I'll see you in the next one. Serena says, some people are attracted to people physically, but to me it's the brain. Looks are a bonus. And then I just happen to have both. And Rose agrees. Well, so both Serena and Rose, thank you both so much. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate it so much. And yeah, like, I completely agree with this because there is so much to a person and their external representation of themselves is such a small percentage of that. Such a small percentage of that. And I mean, the most simple example that we all know is, of course, that somebody could be, the most attractive person, but if they have a disgusting personality, and I mean the most odious personality you have ever come into contact with, that external representation of themselves matters nil. Just absolutely none. And so I think that people such as yourselves, Serena, Rose, and Amira has mentioned this too in the past, that prioritizes and values and not even the intelligence, but just what makes up someone, like what intrinsically who they are, fundamentally who they are, and values that as their highest ideal, so to speak, that they are correct. And that is the best way to operate 100%. 100%. And like you said, physically is just a bonus. If somebody happens to have a beautiful mind to you in your subjective perception of them, and they also have a beautiful face or a beautiful body or both in your subjective perception of them, then you are rocking, and you have found a real good catch there. Many good vibes to you too, Maria. Ollie, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Izo, no, I am not. Yeah, I'll flip my hair. That's funny. Amira, yeah. Danielle says, how was your Easter? Or I suppose just your Sunday. So my family did a get-together. I got together with a few of my family members, which was nice. We had lunch together, and that was fun. So it was great. Seeing the family, spending time with family is incredibly important. Incredibly important. I don't know how else to put it. If you only get to see, I've mentioned this before in previous streams. If you've been here when I briefly mentioned this, then I apologize. But yet again, if you have a grandparent that you only get to see once a year on Easter, maybe Easter is your one time in the year that you get to see them, and they're 80 years old, well, the next year isn't even promised with them, But let's say they're going to live to 90. Let's say we happen to understand and know in this hypothetical situation that they're going to live to 90. Well, you have about 10 more times to see your grandparent that is 80 years old. That's 10 more times. That is it. And when you put things into that perspective, it becomes even more pressing and important to spend time with your family, because this is a very realistic scenario for most of us and all of us here. That let's say your couple of aunts and your uncles and some of your grandparents, you might see them 2 to 3 times per year. And let's go to the oldest members in your family that are 60. Well, if the average lifespan is 77, then do that math. You're probably only going to get to see them. If you get to see them twice per year, then you're only going to ever see them probably 40 more times at the most, depending on how long they live past average lifespan, at seeing them twice per year. So this is definitely something to keep in mind, and make sure that you spend that time with your family when it's presented, and don't think that you have all the time in the world, because you don't. You certainly don't. Yeah, Danielle, I don't either. But I was happy to see my family as well. And that's good that you don't really celebrate it either. but in the way that you get to see your family. Like that's the thing about these archaic Iron Age based holidays. They are a good excuse to not work, not work on that day and go and see your family. All right, Amira, I'll tell him. Manuela, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the community. Good night, Serena. What do I do? Many things. Too many things to really speak on here. But a few of them are, I do music, I do live streaming, and various content creation across the internet, across social media. So here on the live stream, I do a lot of speaking, talking, answering questions, stuff like that. Not to really get into the details of what is spoken about, what kind of music, these things will have to be experienced, I think. These things will have to be experienced to fully understand. I'm glad you like my name, Palm. Sounds good, Days. Whatever album you need, I hope that you get it. Sounds good, Bunny. Welcome back. How is my mental health? It's beautiful. It's beautiful, Amira. But, again, there are factors in our lives that we have control over with our mental health. There are genetic factors that press on us, and there are factors that your environment has nurtured into you that completely take away control from your mental health in those aspects. But you do have an ability to prevent those existing mental health issues from getting worse, or living your best life. And if you are in relative stable mental health, then there are absolutely ways to either slip into bad mental health of any kind, whether it's minor or major, and then there's ways to mitigate that and keep yourself in great mental health. And I don't mean just great mental health as in normal operating daily life help. I mean mental health. I mean incredibly good, positive mental health throughout your life. And obviously those are the 3 pillars of health that I talk about always. But my mental health is great. Good night to you, Danielle. I haven't watched Aquaman, but I have heard of it, and I understand the aesthetic. Yeah, I understand the aesthetic, and I've been compared to Aquaman before, so it is what it is. It's good. And fair enough on the comparison. Business is good. I'd rather be doing this, though. More often. For a longer duration. Thank you for the heart, me, Danielle. Why'd they start it? For money? I enjoyed the work to a relative degree, and I knew that I could make money doing it, and I understood how the business worked, and I knew that I could figure out the administrative and politicking side of that side of things, so I just did it. I learned it, and I did it. But primarily, if you want to know, like, the end goal, it was, of course, for pecuniary gain. But yeah, I don't know. Because it's a lot of work, and it's not easy. And is it 100% the thing that I love and would prefer doing if I had to pick? No. So that's why I'm not that's why I do what I do here. Otherwise, I wouldn't do anything here. I wouldn't put any time, any effort, because this takes literally all of my effort. Doing this stream and then editing all the videos that are a consequence of each and every single stream. It takes hours of my day. So much time. So much energy goes into this. So I put in an equal amount of work into this as well, and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, there we go. Adding to the lore. But yes, does that matter to me more than my community does and what I do here? And with music and everything that I do? No, definitely not. I love everything that I do, but there's obviously a hierarchy. I'm probably more personality-wise like my father, and I look like a solid mix between the two. Have I served in the military? No. I have not. I don't know how to answer that shot. Because I think there's a lot of caveats that you could make to that. I'm glad you like it, Bex. If you can instantly become really good at one thing, I kind of just become good at everything that I want to be good at. I guess I would be, well, there's a couple of things that I guess I would be interested in getting good at, which would be being able to speak all languages. So if I could become a extremely skilled polyglot, I would do that. If I could, or if that would be the more utilitist choice of the two options that I have. And then the other thing that I wish I could be good at, that I've really tried to get good at, is skateboarding. Skateboarding would be great if I could get really good at that. But I think far more practical and utilitist would be to be able to speak all languages. And I'm using that as one thing. Yeah, just go to my profile, Mariana. You'll see all the tattoos. Nikita, thanks for the rose times 2. Also, Bunny, thank you for the tiny bunny. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you for the love you so much times 3. Thank you for the heart puff times 3. Thank you for the goat. Yeah, I don't really skateboard though, because I'm not great at it. I've tried, but. No, Amira, I'm not working out any specific body type for any particular reason. I take a pretty macroscopic view on exercise. You know, like you really should be exercising all of the major muscle groups for best health outcomes, really. You want to make sure that you are hitting all of the muscle groups for the most part. So, no. For best health, you really actually want to do the opposite of that. And favorite memory from the last year. I don't know exactly, but it would be live streaming based. It would definitely be something from the stream. It's probably just, if I could answer that question like as a whole and say just as an entire whole, all live streams from the past year as a singular memory are the best times and the best parts of my days usually. So Mira, once again, I will tell you, just go look at any of my stream archives. Because after you said that you didn't see them, I looked and I saw about 7 different, I mean, I'm exaggerating. I saw at least 3 or 4 or 5 streams in which I wore that beanie. So if you don't see it, that's fine. But again, I know what I'm given and I know who gave it to me and I know what those things look like, and I'm not just lying or mistakenly telling anyone anything. So yes, if I'm telling you that these are on my stream archive, then you will see them. You will see it. And if you don't see it, then I don't know what to tell you. However, just because I never wore it doesn't mean I'm not going to wear it. I haven't worn any hats, really. I think I wore my baseball cap like once or twice, but for the most part, like I just haven't been wearing hats of any kind because I don't really want to or feel like it right now lately. But it's there. It's there. It's in the archives, baby. And it'll be back at some point, you know, when I wear other hats and things like that. I don't know, Ghost. What is going on? I think only you can tell us what's going on in your life. No, because like the fact that I've worn them in multiple of the stream archives already tells you that it's going to be worn again. You know, it's one of my hats in circulation that I wear when I wear hats, but I just don't wear them all the time. Sometimes I'll go through like longer periods of wearing them though. It's just like what I'm feeling. It's like how you kind of can operate throughout the months where like you'll find yourself listening to a particular genre of music for like a month straight. You for some reason you have no interest in the other genre that you know you love, but all you want to listen to is this genre. And then a month later, you realize you're sick of that genre, so you want to go back and listen to this other genre. You know, like for me, that's the same way. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, man, I'm really into my hats right now. I like the look. I want to do that. The same sort of thing with style. Tuco, what's going on? Good night, Jamie. Have a good night. I don't know, Bunny. That's a good question. I don't really know. Off the top of my head, could I answer that accurately or quickly? Probably not. There's so many things that are annoying. So many things, of course, that are annoying, that are normal. Yeah, I know. You don't have to. They're in the thumbnails, Amira. I didn't go through and watch every single one. I didn't go through and watch. I mean, each of the streams are at least an hour long, and there is like 85 stream archives so far. So, you know, that's what, 85 hours. So, of course, I didn't go through 85 hours worth of footage, and most of those streams are 2 hours long, really. So, we're talking more like 170 hours of stream archives. I did not do that. I just scrubbed through the thumbnails. So, you would see it in the thumbnails. But I think your problem is that you just don't really know what to look for because you don't remember what it looks like, which is understandable. Good afternoon to you, Aurora. Only look at the YouTube. Yeah, okay, answer that. Yeah, I know you're asking random questions, Bunny. And it's a fair question. It's a good question. I'm really trying to think of what the answer to that would truly be. Because there's plenty of things. Plenty of things. Yeah, heck yeah, Bunny. There's many stream archives to watch, and especially for you, you don't get to be in a lot of the streams, so there's plenty for you to be able to watch after the fact. So that's great that you're making sure to watch when I'm not live, or sorry, when you're not able to be on my live. That is very good to hear. And that's also good that you are doing the same, Amira. Something I used to love that I don't anymore. I don't know, maybe an ex-girlfriend? I ended my two bands in the past because of the politics of bands, and I do literally everything within a band. I don't actually need a band, so it just made far more sense to eliminate the drama, the politics, and the negativity that comes with being in a band, and just do everything myself the way I want it done, because I can do everything the way that I want it done. That goes for playing each of the instruments, singing, all the stuff, and all of the audio engineering, mixing, mastering stuff as well. So when you have those abilities, it makes having a band and spending thousands of dollars on a recording studio redundant, just completely redundant. So it was just kind of a practical thing to do and saved me so much mental health, adverse mental health effects, and also saved me a lot of time and put me in a place that I wanted to be in, ultimately. Most of the things I do are not just completely rash, ridiculous decisions. Like, they're pretty well thought out, and I understood that there was going to be a lot better of a end result for me, and I would be able to get exactly where I wanted to go and do exactly what I wanted to do as a result of my decisions, which is why I'm also, just even in my everyday speech, I'm very fastidious and careful with my speech, even just in the things that I say, because I guess that's just the type of person I am. Hi, Awen. I don't think so. I don't understand why you're asking the question. How are my platonic relationships like? Good. You mean friends? I have a small circle of friends, and they're good. They're good. I don't have a bunch of negative, bad relationships. And if things go sour and go bad, then I'm not going to stick around for it, If somebody is a bad person, or I, learn that they're a bad person, or I just do not like the kind of person they are, whatever it might be, I'm not going to stick around for that. So, because truly, you are very much a result of kind of an arbitrary number, but let's just say the 5 primary people you surround yourself with. And that could even be me. You know what I mean? For a lot of you guys that have been in the community for a while, you spend hours per day with me, more than you spend with anyone else. And there is a direct psychological effect there. And if you surround yourself with generally bad, unintelligent people, completely irrational people, then that's going to rub off on you. That will have a psychological effect on you. And the same goes for the exact opposite example. So it is far more preferable to spend your time with people that are... It's far more preferable to trim the fat, so to speak, excise the tumor, so to speak, if you are spending time with a bad person. Just don't. Or somebody that's not really doing you any favors. And make sure that your friends are the type of people that when something good happens for you, they don't get jealous and negative over it. And that the same thing goes for non-platonic relationships, like romantic relationships. What's up, Yeti? Yes, indeed, Eamon. Well, KK, you've got to You've got to expose yourself to people. You have to go out and be social. Or a lot of people find friends online too. And although that is not nearly as good as an in-person, sort of relationship and friendship, you can still find like-minded people online, but you can also go to places that, let's say you're really into electronic music. If you go, even by yourself, to an electronic music concert, you'll find people there, and you can make friends. You can ingratiate yourself with people. Just don't look in the wrong places. You know what I mean? Like if you don't like alcohol, you don't drink alcohol, let's say, for instance, and you're trying to find friends at a club, wrong place to go. You're probably not going to find like-minded individuals. So that would be not recommended. So just be cognizant of where you are searching for friends. And yeah, that's a big deal too. And mad props for working third shift, because even just in terms of sleep health, third shift is so detrimental to your sleep health, and basically as a result, your entire health, because sleep is one of the 3 primary pillars of health. Physically and psychologically, sleep almost supersedes the other 2 pillars of health in terms of how important it is. Yet we need people to work third shift. There are ways to mitigate the adverse effects, yes, but my God, you can't fully mitigate them. And so I wish more people understood how absolutely terrible it is for your brain and body, your mental state and your physical state, to work the night shift and the overnight shift like that, because people like yourself deserve all the props and appreciation in the world, for real, because somebody's got to do it, and it is a huge trade-off. Huge trade-off. They pay you more because of it, yes, but you have to make that trade-off. You have to make that massive trade-off, which is really difficult to make, because of course when it comes to your daily, you have to live in your body. You have to exist in this vehicle for the rest of your life, and knowingly cutting off years of your lifespan over time, and just for a little bit more money, and knowingly walking through your life with very little friends because you can't get out and socialize because they're all asleep when you're awake, and they're all awake when you're asleep. And, the extreme disruption of your circadian rhythm is causing you to have a less of a positive mental health state than you could have. It's tough. And a lot of times on your weekends, you want to be awake when the rest of the world's awake. So you have to completely reverse your circadian rhythm on 2 days out of the week, which is one of the biggest no-nos in terms of sleep health. So it's such a conundrum, because they do pay you well, but there's so much trade-off that comes along with it. Brianne, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Oh yeah, you've got plenty of tea to spill for your mom then, Bunny. There you go. I'm glad you hear the truth there, Brianne. I'm glad you hear the truth there, Awen. Yeah, I mean, I try my best. Awen, I'm glad you appreciate my thought process and how I think on these things. Always one of the biggest compliments you guys give me. So I do appreciate it very much. Yeah, John, and that's almost simplifying it, like to a morbid degree, because, like I said, like I was just saying over the past couple minutes, just enumerating detrimental fact after detrimental fact to your sleep health. It is far more than just your physical health that will be crippled by working that sort of shift, especially over time. It culminates. Hey Jay, welcome to the stream. Zoe, here's what I would say about that. You're not a bad person, but what I would say is the best way to operate is to kind of just think about how you would want to be treated in this scenario, right? Because number one, what you're doing is the second you tell your mother this, most likely your brother is going to rationalize this for 5 seconds and realize you told her. Number two, it will open the door for him to spy on you constantly, because probably he's going to want to get revenge because it's going to upset him greatly. And number two, it's just going to open that door because maybe, he's always thought, she would never do that to me, sort of situation. Maybe, I don't know. But you got to consider that you should do what you would want somebody to do to you in that situation, which might be to, just have some trust between you two. However, now here's a big thing to think about in addition to that. If what you're hearing is something very dangerous and very bad, and maybe it's detrimental to him as a person, for example, if you overheard him saying, like, tomorrow I'm going to take a bunch of these medications and unalive myself, well, obviously tell your mom, right? Like, this completely supersedes the trust between you and completely supersedes the golden rule, so to speak. But if it comes to something trivial, then probably just keep it to yourself. You've got some fun tea to share with you and your friends, but telling your mom has far greater consequences. God, that's so stupid. God, that's so stupid. The frickin' live restricted me. I said unalive. I said unalive, dude. I never get restricted, and I've said that before. Oh well. TikTok is so stupid sometimes. But anyway, are you a romantic person? Yeah, for sure. For sure I am. Yeah, and I would say, like, I'm pretty hopelessly romantic in a lot of ways. So yeah, if it's not dangerous, Bunny, then don't tell her. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Nikita, thank you for the rose times 2. I think I already said that. Yeah, I did. I said that many minutes ago. No, the restriction's only for 10 minutes, and I'm not going to be here for like a whole bunch of time longer. It's super late, but again, it's only for 10 minutes, not a huge deal. Hopeless romantics unite. Indeed. Indeed. Thank you, Mintex. I appreciate that. My humor is like sarcastic. I think a hopeless romantic, Awen, is inherently a hopeful romantic, technically. I'm sorry to hear that, Bunny. Yeah, I mean, being a hopeless romantic is essentially being a hopeful romantic. You're a very romantic person that's hoping to find love, and at the hopeless is kind of like a sarcastic part of the title, I think. My humor is sarcastic, though, Amira. It can be. I think that's really where my humor comes out in, for the most part. But I'm not constantly trying to like set up punchlines and stuff. It's just like, I mean, obviously you know that. I'm not just sitting here constantly trying to like make you guys laugh and stuff. It'll come out and it'll come through sometimes, but again, you won't, like, half of the time you won't even be able to tell because it's sarcastic. So unless you know me and you understand me, like, you might be thinking, why would he say that? There's no way he could actually think that. Well, it's because I was being sarcastic and like joking about it, and I'm saying it kind of like with a little bit of a straight face, a little bit, or I'm like really exaggerating what I'm saying, kind of like this, and making it obvious that I'm being sarcastic, So that's kind of like the humor that I seem to find myself using, that I've always naturally gravitated to. Yeah, well, sarcasm is great. Sarcasm is pretty great. So, good questions, very good questions. Honestly, I think the last time that I was hit with TOS stuff on the stream was over 6 months ago. Like, that's literally how long it was. And I have spoken on that particular topic multiple times, and I've said it in that really roundabout way. But oh well, it's probably over now anyway. The lack of recommendation, or whatever it is. I'm glad you love sarcasm, even though you can't pick it up. That's awesome. I mean, it depends on what you're being sarcastic about, Awen. Because I'm not really the type of person to be sarcastic if it's going to hurt somebody. But at the same time, like, jokes are, in a lot of cases, aimed at people, but it's to be funny, So there's that as well. But yeah, like, you can make jokes at people's expense, or you can not. And I definitely don't really do that. Although a lot of the times sometimes I'll be sarcastic to make a legitimate point that needs to be made because I'm trying to prove a factual claim. But in order to soften what I'm saying, I will couch it in sarcasm slightly. And that makes it a little bit easier to... It just makes it a little bit more palatable to the recipient of whom I'm speaking to. So, whom I'm saying whatever I'm saying, the sarcasm and the claim to. I really don't know where I would want to meet my... I think ideally it would be great to... It's so hard to go in reverse with me, the type of person I am. Being so prolific online, all of the things that I do, the community, everything. I think it would be, I've thought about this, in depth, of course, as I do most things. And meeting somebody in reverse of the typical would be the best in this case, in a lot of cases, because I think that, if somebody meets me just randomly, they are not going to understand all of the things that surround my life in the background, and they may not like any of those things at all, and those might be deal breakers for them. There's a lot of things that make me a difficult person to be with because I'm not the typical guy in so many ways when it comes to all that I do online, not just on the stream, but everything else. And so if somebody finds me through the things that I do and likes all of the things that I do, that makes it a little bit easier in a lot of ways, because again, it would be different if what I did were such a small thing. But what I do is not a small thing. It takes a lot of my time. It takes a lot of my energy, and it is a big part of who I am. And so it makes it a bit easier. Anyway, is somebody that already knows and understands these things. Because trust me, I've been through it multiple times. Many multiples of times, because again, I've been doing what I do for many years, and it's never easy coming from the regular way that you meet people, because the regular way that you meet people when you're in my situation, being the type of person or the type of guy that I am, it's difficult. It's very, very difficult for the aforementioned reasons. So where would I take them? I don't know. Again, I don't know. I prefer to just get to know somebody. So I found love many times, Bunny. I've found it many times. So no big deal to me. I am in no rush, and I am not desperately cloying to find love or anything like that. This is not I'm not in a tragic circumstance, and I've found plenty of love in my life, and I've had plenty enough for. So I am in no desperate need to find somebody unless they are absolutely the right person for me. And if that person is not the right person for me, or it is not the right situation, then I'm honestly completely averse to the situation. So trust me, I am not desperate at all. I never have been. But I want people. That's not true, Amira. Like, that's just patently false, because in the moment, you always think it's true love. You always think it's true love. If you were madly in love with somebody right now, you would say, this is true love. I 100% feel like I'm going to be with this person forever, all the time. Fact, done, period. End of discussion. And then after the fact, you say, well, that clearly wasn't true love because this and that and this and that. Well, yeah, of course. But you find what you think is true love multiple times, but you can't automatically assume that I haven't just because I'm not with somebody right now, So I would take somebody anywhere that would allow me to actually speak to them. That's the point. Anywhere where I could actually speak to them and get to know them. Because what I don't want to do is take them to a movie where we have to sit in silence for 2 hours and not speak. I don't, what is the point of that? There's no point of that. So maybe go on a walk in a beautiful place, or maybe go sit down at a restaurant. Who knows? Whatever it might be, it doesn't matter really. It really doesn't matter all that much as long as I am getting to know you. And so, in which case, it would be a joint effort, because most likely, by that point of picking somewhere where I'd want to go with that person, I would already understand their interests and my interests, and I would think of places that might go well with both of our interests. Or maybe I'd give them the option. Who knows, but it'd be something simple like that. It's super difficult, Jay, and it's also hard just like to even have the time for it in general. It's hard to have the time for it in general. In so many different ways, because as it is right now, I am working 100% of my day. From the moment I wake up until the moment I go to sleep, I am working, then I'm editing a video, aka working, then I'm on the stream. Then I go straight to sleep, then I wake up, then I'm working, then I edit another video, and then I might edit another video, and then I might do the stream again, and then I'm back to sleep, and then I wake up, and it is every single day. And then the weekend hits, and guess what I'm doing? Working, doing more videos, editing more videos, then doing 2 streams in one day each of those weekends. It's like there's so much to it. And now, as I always say, as the community grows, as things progress, I will be able to focus far more on purely the stream and the stream-related content, and that's where we'll go from there. That's what we'll do. And then I'll have more time in my life for these other things. But right now, if I were to, let's take it all the way. I'm living with somebody. I'm doing this whole life thing in a dedicated relationship. I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be here any day. I wouldn't be doing this at all. I wouldn't have time. I wouldn't be able to. And the person would have already broken up with me if I tried to. So it is extremely difficult, unless it was a very understanding person, as I said before, that had met me through one of my channels of content that they appreciate, enjoy, and understand. But again, that's niche and a rarity. Thanks for sharing the live, Jay. Cinema is not effective in these ways, for sure. Eve, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the community. Very good emojis, Bunny. That's a good date, Amira. I guess. I mean, it's a good date if that sounds good for you, for sure. Yeah, I mean, in anything that you're trying to do, you cannot fail to see the progress every day. My dreams have already come true, Amira. Like, this isn't that big of a deal, but as I always tell you, I don't operate in a world where once I reach a goal, I now stop and that's all it is. Okay, I hit this goal. Okay, I've achieved my dreams. I'm really doing what I want to do finally. Let's stop. Never. That's not how it works. So I will never truly achieve this arbitrary goal in the sky. It's just something that I'm always working toward. I'm just always consistently working. But there's no like arbitrary number in the sky. There's certain life circumstances that will unfold along the way that will get better and better. But if you look at me freaking 10 years ago when I first started live streaming versus now, it's vastly different. If you first looked at me 15 years ago when I first started, well, actually probably, when I was 5 years old when I first started doing music versus what I do with music now and all that situation, like, come a long way. And you cannot fail to see the progress in any pursuit that you are putting yourself through. I will try to, Amira. Yeah, Jay, people can understand. I think people are really understanding. It is scarce, I suppose, but it's just difficult in my particular situation for understanding people. And then I have my own preferences in women as well that then narrows that down. So yes, it has to be, it's just a very niche situation. And again, I am by no means interested in settling. I never have been, and I never have. I have always waited as long as it would take until I find somebody that's who I feel is perfect for me. So I was on stage for most of my life doing music and acting and everything. So well, people settle all the time every day, and I tell them, and I tell you all to not settle. You'll see it on the Clips channel. I probably said it like 3 times already on there, and I won't stop saying it. I won't stop saying it. That is for sure. But again, I am so busy and I have so much to do that, like, throwing myself into, especially throwing myself into a relationship or a committed relationship or something like this that's doomed to fail is just not worth my time at all. Like, whose time would that be worth? I guess people that don't care or have anything useful to do with their time, which they do, they just choose not to. So have a good night, Awen, or good day. I take days for myself all the time, Jay. I take months for myself sometimes. Look at the stream archive. You're not going to see that I've streamed every single day, you know. I take breaks when necessary. Now, granted, I'm taking a break because I need to work on something else. So I might take a break from the stream so that I can edit one more video that day. But typically, no. Like, typically, there's not, like, a day where I'm just taking a day to, like, sit back on my laurels and watch YouTube videos all day. But again, like, that's not... I'm not doing this at a detriment to my mental health, because what I do, I enjoy. But it's a lot of work. That's all I'm saying, you know. It's a lot of work, but I enjoy it. So even if I take a day off from streaming, it's for a very good reason, just so that I can catch up on a couple videos that I might have backlogged or something like that, you know. Bunny, I started doing music freaking when I was like 5 years old, like I said. And I started, like, actively doing YouTube. Well, you can look at my YouTube channel, and probably 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Around there. Yeah. So. It's been a while. And it's been about the same amount of time that I've been streaming for and stuff like that. Just on a different platform, not on TikTok. TikTok didn't even exist 10 years ago. And I wasn't even on TikTok when it did exist. That's why like I really only ever started using TikTok last July. Like when a lot of you guys found me and joined the community that are here now. That was when I started using TikTok, pretty much. Was July 2025. So thank you for the freestyle, Bunny. All right, guys, I have got to go. It's 3 a.m. 3 a.m., baby. It's time. It's time to, like, go to sleep. Because I got to wake up early and do it all again tomorrow. And I would really like to get a solid amount of sleep because, again, core pillar of your health, and you really need it. You really need your sleep. And if I'm going to be coming back onto the stream with the mental acuity that I need to conduct the stream, I need sleep. I need sleep to do it. So much love to you all. Have a great and beautiful night. Have a great and beautiful day tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. And I love you all so much. Thank you for a beautiful stream. It was a great stream, guys. So much appreciation to all of you.